Bubba, it's always good to talk to you. I wish you could come. I know we're trying to figure out if you can get on the road next year, but I'm figuring Arkansas won't be in Baton Rouge next year. This would be one of the places I'd want you to join me. Too bad you're not with me.
I know. What's up, Phil? You doing all right today?
Yeah, really good. Really good. I'm excited about this series. Always, anytime Arkansas and LSU play, there's going to be intensity. It's going to be a high level of baseball, but the series is tilted, heavily towards Arkansas over the last, say, about 6 years. But this seems to be a pretty good team that Jay Johnson has. They've got power. They've got guys who are putting together good at bats on a routine basis. They got some starting pitching. It's a pretty well-rounded team, it looks like.
Yeah, you know what though, Phil? When I look at their lineup, they're not the powerful lineup that we've seen in the past from LSU. They're still kind of scrambling to find the right lineup. I don't know if you saw last week against A&M, they hit Jared Jones in the leadoff spot on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if you saw that or not. They had him in the 2-hole, but they moved him to the leadoff spot, and to me that's kind of weird because if you look at SEC play only, he's hitting 252. His on-base percentage is .325, and he's 1 for 3 in stolen bases. That's not really the numbers that you look for in a leadoff guy. So that was kind of an odd move. I feel like Jay Johnson was trying to find the right combination, kind of like DBH has done in the past. They try to find the right combination to score runs. And now the pitching's been dominant for LSU. They're really good Friday and Saturday guys, but it just looks like he's still kind of changing up the lineup to find that right mix.
I saw 16 games this year. LSU's been held to 4 or fewer runs. Hogs can pull that off. I'd feel pretty good about a series win, or maybe even a little better than just a series win. And that's the thing that stood out for me last week when I look at the Texas series, Bubba. Now, I think, so much talk on the Texas pitching going into the series, but it was the Arkansas pitching that really got talked about a lot more once it was all said and done. And now with Gage Wood getting another 20 pitches or so, and Parker Coil on the roster, expected to pitch this weekend. Hunter Dietz probably going to pitch this weekend. They're getting much more towards full-strength pitching than we've seen at any point.
Yeah, I tell you what Zach Root did on Thursday night. I still get my nights confused. When we start on Thursday, it kind of messes me up.
I know, I hate it.
yeah. But what he did on Thursday, Phil, was incredible. Now, I don't think Texas really has a powerful lineup. They got some pretty good hitters, at the top part of the lineup. They kind of drop off as you get down towards the bottom part of the lineup. But he dominated that team. He had all 4 pitches working. And then you turn to Saturday with Gage Wood. You look at Zach, and he's more of a 4-pitch mix, can throw any pitch at any time. But then, you look at the Friday game with Gage Wood. He's coming in there throwing 98 at the top of the zone, and the hitters just had no answer for it. They just couldn't catch up. So I thought it was a real good 1-2 punch that we threw at them. And then, I like the TBA on Game 3, Phil. I don't know how you feel about it. I really like that Game 3 TBA, and we can use Vital Cheese however we need to. If we need to use them in long relief or a matchup in a high-leverage situation to get a win, we do it. Then we just figure it out Game 3 as it comes. But I really like the way Dave did that.
Yeah, and that's usually the way Dave does things. Not necessarily the idea of a TBA on Sunday, but you don't save somebody for a Sunday. That's the whole point of, even with a 6-0 lead on the second game against Texas, is that they put Jimenez out there because it's important to go make sure that nothing happens. And if they have a 6-run lead, 6-run leads in college baseball can evaporate pretty quickly sometimes. So that's the way Dave goes at it. Is he's not really thinking, worried too much about the day after. It's win the game that's right in front of you, and then you trust your guys that are on your team to do it again the next day, whoever it is that gets the chance.
Yeah, and it's such a cliche. We're going to take it one game at a time, but that's truly how DBH does it, and it's been pretty successful for him. Now, I don't know if you looked at the starters for LSU, but boy, they did really well against a really good A&M team. Cade Anderson, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. 12 Ks, and then on Saturday, that Anthony Ianson, 9 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 14 Ks against a really good A&M offense. So we're going to have our hands full with those guys, but I don't know. You might know this offhand, but I don't know the longest a starter has gone against us this year. I mean, I would assume it was the Florida guy, Peterson. I think he went into the 7th inning, but we're really good at getting starting pitching out early because we do a great job of working the count, swinging on our terms, not chasing a lot of pitches. So hopefully we can get their starting pitching out early and get into the bullpen, because those two starters that we're going to see on Friday and Saturday are pretty tough.
How do you think first base has handled this weekend? I mean, the coolest thing of the Texas sweep, if you really were to get right into the weeds of it, was the 2-homer game by Reese Robinette, and really the series that he played, because he did something positive in every single game. I mean, he had a base hit and a walk, then a bases-loaded walk in the second game, got in late to play defense, and then, I mean, that 2-homer game, which came more than 2 years after he'd lasted a home run, that's kind of the stuff that people refer to 20 years later as a Reese Robinette game. So then what do you think happens with him in these next 3?
Well, I don't know. That's a great question, but wouldn't it be nice if he could go back to LSU and do what he did a couple years ago there?
That's right.
And have a couple more big home runs. I mean, that would be great. And I think everyone pulls for Reese Robinette just for the fact that in today's game, where if you don't play, you transfer, and you blame someone else for it and you transfer somewhere else and try to play there. To see the fact that Reese stayed here, he was redshirted last year, didn't get in the lineup much this year, and then finally got a chance and came up really huge for us. It's good to see. I really enjoyed the interview with him after the game, and he's so humble about it, and just he just keeps working and wait for his opportunity. But it'll be interesting to see how DVH does that this weekend. Now, they're facing a different style of pitching staff. You look at a team like LSU, they're a little bit more power pitching than Texas. Texas throws a lot of off-speed stuff. LSU has guys that throw a little bit more fastball. So we'll see how that Dave works the matchups. But whether he starts or comes off the bench, it's nice to know you got some left-handed power either way you look at it.
I don't know if you saw the comment that Wes Johnson gave yesterday, former Arkansas pitching coach, Minnesota Twins, LSU pitching coach, Mississippi State pitching coach, now head coach at Georgia. They fired Chris Lemonis, and you may have been right about them getting rid of him early because they end up with a sweep last weekend, and I mean they're kind of on the bubble, so they may still have a run in them. But Wes is, I don't want to put it in this term as a negative thing, because I've always felt when he went to another job, it was something that truly you could view as a step up. But he says he has no plans to venture to Starkville. Those were his words. Now, if you're just picking cities to live in, yes, Athens is a lot bigger, nicer than Starkville. But, I mean, just look at the size of the ballpark and the resources that you're going to get as a head coach for baseball at Georgia, where they're going to be putting a very small portion of their direct payments to athletes, to baseball players, and Mississippi State will put a significantly more portion of that money towards baseball players. And if they offer Wes the job, man, I think he'd take it. I think it'd be tough to turn it down, don't you?
I do, and it's hard to listen when a coach says that. I think back to Jim Schlossnagle last year saying, I remember him scolding a reporter for asking him, if he'd be thinking about leaving and taking the Texas job, and he scolded him when the ink was still wet on the contract he had signed to go to Texas. So I don't know. I don't put a whole lot of stock in that, but I agree. Mississippi State, with that ballpark they have and the revenue and then what they pour into baseball, boy, that's a really good job. Now Wes has it pretty good there at Georgia, so I don't know, but he would be a guy that you would think would be at the top of the list of possibly going to Mississippi State. But they're going to make a run, Phil, because I think they end up the season at Mizzou, don't they?
Yeah, they get Ole Miss this weekend, so this will be the last time that they're really tested.
Yeah, I mean, if they can win 2 this weekend and win 3 at Missouri, I mean, that gets them up there. You know, they're looking way better for postseason.
Yeah, I think they really are. There's a couple. And how does this make you feel? The Razorbacks right now are the favorites on FanDuel and on the Bet Saracen app to win the baseball national championship. This is obviously 2 weeks before even the conference tournament starts. We don't even know what the selection committee's looking like in terms of, what their thoughts are. But I'll tell you what, Bubba, if they play the way they did last week, if they play the way that they can play, I think it's a team that can achieve that.
I think so, but can we tell the guys at D1 Baseball and Baseball America that? Because you're looking at the rankings, do the rankings frustrate you, Phil?
Not
and
at
I know
all.
it doesn't matter to the team. I mean, the team could care less. DVH doesn't care. Staff doesn't care. The ranking that matters is the one that comes out Memorial Weekend. But Matt Jones had a guy on his podcast talking about, one of the writers from, I want to say it was Baseball America, trying to explain why he put Texas in front of us. And he said, well, it was the whole body of work. And he said, Texas started out 19-2, and he went on about that. And I'm just like, I'm scratching my head thinking, well, they're not 19-2 now. Now they're 19-5 because we beat up on them for 3 days. I don't know. I don't understand the rankings right now. And like I said, it doesn't matter, but I think it just gives me something to be grumpy about.
Yeah, because I'm not sitting there next to you finding ways to make you grumpy, so you had to find other ways to do it. I know how this works. Bubba, let's leave it there, and looking forward to having you next week for the Tennessee series. That's always fun. That's another – you got a good rivalry with them, but, I mean, this is like a rivalry month for Arkansas baseball.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's going to be a fun weekend. Bring us home a series win, Phil. We need one, all right?
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season is in full swing and we're into the NBA and NHL playoffs, and BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the MLB, NBA, NHL, and UFC, BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. Bet Online, the game starts here.